there's no emotional draw. You're just
Yeah.
you're making some sentences, they're coming together. I want to be pulled into your story. You're not pulling me in. Do you want me to go through this quickly with you and tell you like what you could say as a possibility? You make your own saying. So my name's Scott Baker. I'm from Tennessee. All right. I believe that my career has really taken a dive. I used to be successful in my first half, and then the second half, I'm going to say, blessed with the worst bosses in the world. So, and these worst bosses have just basically brought me to a point of depression, and this is a sad state for leadership. And mediocrity is what they exemplify as bosses. So I was wanting more, and therefore I was quick to anger. My old life, of success is over, and here I am thinking at this point in time that mediocrity is what I got to survive with. And how can I get to retirement? That's really the exciting question for me at this point. This is my ordinary world. Next slide. Did you like how I built that in?
Yeah, I'm wondering if I should not have the words and just talk to it.
I think you're better off because having the words, you're just saying what's there.
Yeah.
All right. So, call to adventure. The where was I looking? I I didn't want to be mediocre. This is really the issue, and I'm still looking for excitement. So George asked the question like, what do you want to do, or how do you want people to speak about you when you die? And I wrote something out, and I thought, wow, I'm none of these things. I'm none of the things I want to be. But maybe it's not too late. Maybe I'm not that old to try to achieve what I want to achieve in life. So that's the call to adventure. So somehow you're going to have to bring people in and try to connect with them. So next one is refusal of the call. All right, I didn't know like this is way too much money. I'm willing to invest, but when I talked to George, he says, just try the 17-day journey. It's free. So I couldn't say no. I really want to do something about my life. And I was told it's not going to cost anything. So just try it. So that's where I tried it. That was the call. And then the refusal of the call is I'm living paycheck to paycheck. Starting a new company, how do I justify spending any money on this stuff? Meeting the mentor. George makes it a habit of getting you to yes. And he got me to yes. It's free. And he said, I'll help you. So the answer is yes. Of course, I want your help. Don't worry. Yes, I don't want to worry. And you can do it. Yes, I can do it. All of a sudden, the mentor has already won me over. So meeting George, it was try the challenge for free. And you can choose me or you could choose any other coach. That's really the key for getting this done for me. All right. Next slide is how do I cross the threshold? The threshold is going to like a new world, and this is what it is. And I want to go from being in bad shape to being in good shape. This is so how am I going to cross this? I have to start slow. I have to take small steps. And I have a faith in God, and I know God will help me get there. All I have to do is choose to do it or want to do it. So the crossing of the threshold for me is the desire, the faith, and taking small steps to get there. Good. Next slide. So you're putting some emphasis on this. So tests allies and enemies. Well, one of my first tests was my treadmill broke out of just sheer coincidence. It's like a great way for me to come up with an excuse. But George asked me like, well, what could you do about it? And he's coaching me on the five whys, which I'm thinking, like, this is crazy. I could have done this myself and come up with the answers, and I didn't. Why is it that when we want something bad enough, we're not willing to use the tools? And that's one of my first tests. Start using what I have at my disposal. Self reliance started becoming a little bit of an answer. So I'm not using my own coaching. You can continue with
Yeah.
allies and enemies. Next one is the approach. So what's my approach? I'm going to get coaching. I really need it, and I really need somebody to help me break out of the bad thinking that I currently have. And one of the things that seems to be very successful is taking small steps towards my goal. Make it small enough where I can be successful. Good. And already I'm always overwhelmed. So the small steps give me an approach that makes sense for me. Using the 64 chart, using, a little bit of a ikigai, why I exist, all of that stuff you could talk about. Ordeal, death, and rebirth. So here's where you want to use one slide, and you want to get emotional here. This is where the emotion should come in. My ordeal. I'm reflecting at this point, and I'm thinking, I don't know why and how I lost my way. How is it I could go from success to failure? Is it me or is it my bosses? I always thought it was me. And that's the failure of the system and people around me. They never supported me. I realized that I was being milked like a cow. Can you imagine being in a field all day and your only function is to give, give, and give? And that's all I'm doing day in, day out for the last 5 years. I don't know how sad you feel about that, but I'm ready to go into tears. It's such a sad state. See, I'm already. You ready? Get the tissue out. Get the tissue out, Scott. I want you to bring them into tears. So I'm ready to give up. That's what that next picture is. And when you click, you want to show them and you want to use your arms. I'm ready to give up. I really am. My death is like I can't take it anymore. So what do I do? What do I do about it? I started looking towards the future and what I wanted to do. And George made it easy because he created a song for me. He gave me a website. He says, "Don't worry, I'll get you a website up." And he just took that first step for me. And he didn't let me do it, he did it. And then he says, "What's your next small step?" And I came up with what I feared is my next small step. I have a commitment. I got to kiss babies. That's the way I see my boss doing it. Is like all he's doing is kissing babies and I'm doing the work. Well, I got to vertically integrate. I got to start kissing babies. This is my rebirth. Good. And then that would be your next slide. So reward and seizing the sword. You see how I want you to bring everybody down. Bring them all down to almost crying. I want them crying because that's where it should come in. All right. And then you just reward seizing the sword. You're gonna want to you might want to give some numbers, give some data, like here you might want to talk about some research you did and people who don't take care of their blood sugar and people who do, what's the life expectancy? I bet you I could do that now and get a number.
Yeah.
So let me do it. Let me do it right now and I'll tell you the number.
I can do it.
No, this will take a second. I don't know why you
I,
didn't do it. So this will take a second and I'm going to go to copyright tips. So what is the life expectancy? What
with
are you, type 2 diabetes?
yeah, ACL of 9, that's where it was,
ACL. Yeah.
versus ACL 6.1.
Oh, that's pretty good. You're doing better than I am. 6.1 of a diabetic. Let's see if it comes up with it. AIC. ACL, you said ACL or AIC?
Yeah, I think it's ACL, isn't it?
A1C. So,
A1. Okay.
yeah. So it reduced by 10 to 15 years. I wasn't off.
That's pretty good. That's a good
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah. It says life expectancy may be reduced by 10 to 15 years or more, depending on other factors, age, comorbidities, lifestyle, whatever. 15
Yeah.
years, it wouldn't be a stretch. So that's a fact. Now that we looked at it, you can look it up too. So when it comes to reward, what's the reward for doing this? I realized taking a small step was so important. George, and you gotta tell people what we did. George forced me to report in every day on my exercise. I went from 6 minutes or whatever, wherever you were at, to 15 minutes to 25 minutes or whatever.
Yeah.
Because yeah. So you could talk a little bit about just that one scenario gives them an idea of what the coaching is about because they're coaches. They should know to do this anyways. So this is the reward for me is I gained 15 years of my life. And again, you're really trying to get them to understand. Can you imagine what you could do in 15 years? Some people's careers are 15 years. So I could start all over in a new career and have one. And that's all as a bonus because of what we did with the Harada method. So if you're not selling the Harada method to others as a graduate, you're going to have a hard time getting students. Like, how are they going to want you as their coach?
Yeah.
So that's it. Road back, just go to the road back. So now I'm ready. I'm ready to start doing this for others. And I know God's help, I can reach my purpose. I will reach my purpose. I have reached my purpose. Those are the three levels I've gone through. I can, I will, and I have. And I have means I've done it, just the date hasn't come by. That's how certain I am that I've reached my purpose with God's help. And of course, the Harada method. So those are the levels you want to talk about on your road back. This is your own commitment and this is your own language. You could say, by the way, the language is so critical. The road back for me is positive self talk only from now on, no negative self talk. So you could talk about that as being a wonderful road back because how did you start your road? Your road started as in I suck. Good. All right. And you will be successful regardless of the people that are helping or milking you. Maybe that's where you bring back the milking. Return with the elixir is I got all the tools now. Wonderful. And go to the new status quo. The new status quo is I'm going from misery to happiness, right? So the new status quo is happiness because I'm going to follow the Harada process. I know I can do it. I'm going to use the tools. I'm going to build my business. I'm going to have great success. And I don't know what next is my work. I don't know what that is, but my work is equally important as my friends instead of most important, right?
Yeah, I
Okay,
think I've changed the bottom, but I haven't changed the top.
that's awesome. All right, so I would do that, and what I'll do is maybe I'll render this video, send it to you just so you have a reference.